Hey guys, welcome to the channel, and what we have for you today is my review of the Philips TAB7007 soundbar. This is a 240 watt soundbar. It's a 2.1 soundbar, and as of me recording this video, it's priced at about 9,999 rupees. Maybe you can get it cheaper with bank discounts and stuff, but that's the approximate price on e-com websites. I'm going to link to the soundbar in the description below. And before we get into the detailed review of the soundbar, here is a demo of what the soundbar sounds like. I have played some copyright free music and some gaming from both the PS5 and the Series X, but when I talk about the performance of the soundbar, I'm going to talk about everything from the way music sounds to the way gaming sounds, movies, and also watching regular TV. So before we get into the details, here is a quick sound demo.
It's so important to convince everyone else that you're not boring.
Sorry,
but it's making me feel like my skin is crawling. I keep pouring out my empathy to someone I don't even see eye to eye with. I don't mind if you don't have it all together. Yeah, I get it, we're all human, but I give you an inch and you take miles. It's tragic, ruining my sanity with tales of animosity. I'd rather cry than you drive me crazy, lose my mind, and I swear I might die if I cared more, but you're not worth the time.
That chase looks crazy. Someone could get hit.
Open so bad! We got a clinger! Shut him off!
Okay, now that you've heard the soundbar and know exactly what it sounds like, let's get into some of the details. This is a simple 2.1 soundbar, and I wouldn't expect anything else at this price point. It has two tweeters and two full range drivers, one on each side, and a 5.25-inch subwoofer, which is wireless. Now, in my experience, I have reviewed a few budget soundbars around the 10K price point, and a lot of budget soundbar manufacturers try to cram in a lot of features, like they try to give you Dolby Atmos, try to give you multiple drivers, but they eventually fail at basically being good soundbars. That's not the case with this Philips TAB7007. It is a good sounding soundbar with one very simple flaw that I'm okay to overlook based on your requirements and needs. So let's talk about a movie performance. Now, we watched movies like Ready Player One. You should definitely check out this movie. There's a race at the 13-minute mark, and that's a really great example of dynamic sound, of cars jumping all over the screen, the two characters talking to each other. So you get a good healthy mix of vocals as well as some action happening, right? Mission Impossible is another great movie where you have Tom Cruise on his motorcycle whizzing through the desert in Rogue Nation, and you also have him talking along with some background score and the music of the cars. This is the music of the cars and the bikes, and this is another great example of good channel separation where the bike is moving from left to right and you can actually hear that on a soundbar. Even when you watch a movie like The Dark Knight, right, where let's say in The Dark Knight where Batman has gone to Hong Kong to kidnap Lau, and that sequence also has some really good dynamic music at the background with some really good thumps of the bass. all of these content pieces actually sounded very good on the soundbar. They were very audible, and if you're someone that has a budget 43-inch TV where movies and music sounds very tinny, you will be very happy with this upgrade. There are two cons that I have with this soundbar, and one of them is actually me nitpicking, and the other one is something that you should consider based on your purchase decision. Me nitpicking would be that the channel separation from left to right is a little weak. So if you, let's say, have Tom Cruise going from left to right on his motorcycle, you won't actually hear the sound moving from the left to the right on the soundbar, and that's okay. In my opinion, that's actually okay, simply because the soundbar is trying to elevate your experience of just getting better audio from the TV, and considering its size and what it is marketed at, I think this is a completely acceptable flaw, especially when you consider the fact that the soundbar actually sounds good. You can hear the vocals of the people talking, and the background score also sounds really good. I didn't have to increase the volume more than 50 to 60% of the soundbar to get a very good immersive experience, and there were times when the bass sounded decent enough. And here's my con. The one thing that I really wish the soundbar did a little better was had just a little more bass, or at least gave you some bass controls on it. Now, in the past, I have reviewed the Philips TAB 7305. I'm going to link to that in the description below. That did give you some bass controls, and I'm kind of surprised that this one didn't. So there are some situations where I'd like the bass to be a little louder, especially in some action-packed movies, or even in some bass-heavy songs. You know, if you play a game like Cyberpunk 2077, it really has this bassy background music when you get into the action. Unfortunately, the action sounds good, the bass is just that much missing. Same thing for a game like Doom Eternal, right? We did show you that demo when we showed you the sound demos. The bang of that shotgun, like even the soundbar that I personally own, which is the Yamaha YAS 209, that one, there are times when I feel that the Yamaha's subwoofer is probably switched off because I am not feeling the bass, but the minute the bass kicks in the content that you're watching, it just kicks in on the soundbar, and it sounds absolutely breathtaking. Now, of course, that Yamaha soundbar is priced at 30,000 rupees, and it's just a testament to the fact that I'm comparing something priced at 10,000 rupees to something that's priced at 30,000 rupees to tell you how good the soundbar is for the audio value that it offers. I mean, I played a game like Spider-Man Miles Morales for some time, even Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank is a great example of the different sounds the guns make, and the audio is clean and clear, and in my opinion that is very important, more important than the channel separation. And bass is something that's subjective. Like I said, when I pumped the volume to 60% I did get that slight thumpiness of the bass that I like, but for some of you that really want the ever-present bass, you might not find it here. It is there, I just wish it was a little more, or maybe the soundbar gave you a few controls. So yes, if you are looking for a great soundbar under 10,000 rupees to improve the quality of audio output from your TV, maybe it's for a small bedroom, or it's your first soundbar and you're just testing the waters without investing too much money, this is definitely one that you can consider. Now that we've gotten the audio performance out of the way, let's look at what this soundbar brings. Now, setting up the soundbar is not very difficult. You just get the soundbar and the subwoofer in the box, and you don't get any audio cables. You just get two power cables, because the soundbar connects to a power source and the subwoofer connects to a power source separately, and they both connect to each other wirelessly. There's a small light at the back of the subwoofer that stays orange when it's, connected to the soundbar. And once you connect the soundbar, you can choose the input option on your TV, be it HDMI, ARC, or even optical, and you're good to go. I consumed content on my television using both optical and HDMI, and I can tell you that I had absolutely no problem. Once you've selected the input source on your TV, you are good to go, be it HDMI, ARC, or optical. That brings me to the connectivity options on this soundbar. Now, at the back of the soundbar, you have an HDMI 1.4 port, you have an aux port, you have an optical port, and you have a Bluetooth 5.3 connectivity option as well. I wish Philips would have given us an audio cable in the box for, most of you that probably wouldn't have an aux or an HDMI cable lying around. If you do, it's great. I just really like it if at least one type of audio cable is provided in the box by the soundbar maker. And the fact that there's none here is a little disappointing. When it comes to the build and design of the soundbar, it has this little plastic top, which is fine. It has a nice premium looking grill finish on the front. And when you look at it from the side, it kind of has this pyramid type of a shape to it, which looks nice. I mean, there's no way to call this soundbar cheap or bad looking. Under my 55-inch TV, it may have looked a little small, but if you have a 43 or even a 50-inch TV, the soundbar will fit right at home. It also doesn't occupy a lot of space because its form factor is not very thick. So if you don't have a very big entertainment table below your television, then you should be okay. You should still be able to make the most of this soundbar out there. The connectivity options are fairly easy to reach as well. Coming to the subwoofer, it isn't very big, it isn't very commanding, it has a pretty small form factor and footprint, and like I said, this is for those of you that are looking for a soundbar for your bedroom, which may not really be very big and you just want to improve the audio output from your television. So the build and design of the soundbar is actually pretty good. It's a little different from the previous Philips TAB 7305 that I had reviewed earlier, that had an angular slanting kind of design. Again, I'm linking to that review in the description so you guys can go and check it out. But this one has like this kind of pyramid like cute design, which kind of should just blend into most entertainment cabinets. Now, if there is a nitpick that I have with this TV is that it doesn't have any display to tell you the sound settings or the volume you're at. So the LED lights that indicate what sound setting you're at or what is the volume is up on top. So when you're sitting in front and the soundbar is at eye level or even a little below eye level on a table in front of you, you actually have to make an effort to see the LED lights glowing. And here's the thing, I actually had to write down what the LED lights indicate because there are 4 of them, and when you put the volume up, naturally they go up from 1 to 4 and backwards, but they have different sound modes. So when all the 4 lights are on, you can of course do that from the remote control, which I will come to in a bit, but the sound modes are movie, music, voice and standard. Movie is when all the 4 dots are there, music is when there are 3, voice is when there are 2, and when there's a single dot, it's standard. So yeah, you're either going to have to write that down, memorize it, or look at the booklet. I just wish, you know, they could have given a small display up front which maybe had numbers for, you know, your equalizer modes, called it 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe that would have been easier to keep a track of or something like that. But just the fact that it has the dots is something that they did with the other previous soundbar from Philips that I've been talking about. That's my only nitpick from a design standpoint. A nitpick I'm okay with as long as it didn't affect the sound output, because the sound output from the soundbar is fairly decent. And coming to the 4 modes, now I did play around with them a lot, watching movies and changing the modes, watching standard news and changing the modes, playing games and changing the modes. And one thing that I realized is that the standard mode worked the best. It didn't have any overpowering artificial boosting of the content. I'm someone that likes more natural sounding sound. So if let's say, you know, you have an action movie like Mission Impossible, the movie mode kind of pumped up the background score and the action a lot more than the dialogues, whereas the standard mode kept everything at a level playing field. So I could hear the music, enjoy it, I could hear the action and enjoy it, and I could hear the dialogues as well. Same thing for TV shows, right? If I put it on music or voice, the voice kind of the voice mode artificially enhances the conversations but dies down the background score. Again, not something that I like, especially considering the fact that in the standard mode, the vocals and the conversations are very easily audible on the soundbar. So if there's one sound setting I recommend keeping it on, it's standard. Although I still recommend you guys play around with the sound modes and tell me in the comments which one you like the best. So overall, considering the price to performance of the soundbar, I think it's a great option for anyone looking for a soundbar under 10,000 rupees. Recapping some of the pros, it has pretty good connectivity options. If you have an older TV, you can always connect it via aux or optical. If you have HDMI ARC support, you can use that on the soundbar as well. The sound quality from the soundbar is extremely good. It lacks a little bit of bass in my opinion. And coming to the cons, I wish it had a display. This whole LED light magic show is not something that I'm a fan of. Now, last but not least, the remote control. Considering the price of the soundbar, this remote control is actually very well built. You have a simple power and mute button on top, and you have some next and previous controls, because you can also, you know, connect a USB drive with music to it and listen to music off a USB drive. You can control the different inputs, right? You have aux, optical, HDMI, ARC, Bluetooth, including the ability to pair a device using the remote control. So why couldn't we have just 2-3 more buttons for the equalizers? That would have just made it so easy to select between movie, music, voice and standard, rather than having to go and take a look at which LED is on, or, you know, playing closing your eyes and pressing the equalizer button, trying to listen to which mode sounds the best for you. Maybe that addition could have been great, but it has this nice rubberized feel to it. The buttons are nice and clicky as well, making the experience of this remote control quite good. It has the little round batteries, so you may want to buy a couple of those and keep in case they die, because this is not standard AA's that you will use for this remote control. So it's actually a pretty good remote control overall, in my opinion. Now let's talk about the alternatives. If you are looking for a soundbar under 10,000 rupees, you have the JBL Cinema SB241. I reviewed a budget JBL Bar 2.1 really long ago, so I don't know if this is an updated model to that, but it's another option at about 7,500 rupees as of me making this video. You also have the JBL Cinema SB270, which is at about 11,000 rupees. Again, I highly recommend you guys can go to an offline store and check these out. There's also an option from Samsung, which I'm going to link in the description below, but that does not have HDMI ARC. So if ARC connectivity is important for you, then you may want to stick around with the JBL and the Philips option. Samsung is also there, but that will give you a better connectivity through optical, but it does not have HDMI ARC. So there you have it, guys. That was my review of the Philips TAB7007. As always, you can let me know what you thought of this video in the comment section below. And for more from the world of home entertainment and gaming, you can subscribe to the channel. I will catch you in another video. It's goodbye for now.